We made a big signing at the end of the summer transfer window in the last episode of the realistic takeover rebuild with Everton. Matheus Cunha arrived from Wolves for a fee of £31 million, and he made an instant impact. His 2 goals helping us reach a new high of 6th place in the Premier League early in Season 2. However, in addition to the signing of Cunha, we also splashed 23 million on Lewis Ferguson, 20 million on Joachim Andersen, and 19 million on Hassan Diao. We have bled our new owners dry, and the coffers are now all but bare. We do have about £16 million left in the transfer budget, but we need to keep that money in reserve in case we want to make the loan deal of David Washington permanent at the end of the season. We do also have an obligation to make Bertrand Traore's loan deal permanent if he plays a minimum of 20 games this season. The arrival of Matheus Cunha not only means that Graham Potter finally has a false 9 to employ in his system, but it does also mean that he can start experimenting with some 4 at the back formations, and that's going to be particularly useful since we have lost Joachim Andersen for the season to a torn ACL. With Cunha in that false 9, Reiss Nelson and Hassan Diao will be able to make direct runs in behind, whilst the midfield 3 will allow Onana to drop back to his more comfortable CDM role, allowing the likes of Maxim de Kuyper and Nathan Patterson to get forward in support. And that is the system that we'll use in our opening matchup of the episode as we take on Shrewsbury Town in the Carabao Cup. Graham Potter has rotated his 11, however, so David Washington starts up front, whilst Jack Harrison and Josh Da Silva come into the side. Ben Godfrey and James Justin start at the back alongside the captain James Tarkowski. And I'm not even going to try and hide the result from this one. It was an absolute massacre from start to finish, and it began when James Tarkowski headed towards goal from a corner. The keeper parried away, but Ben Godfrey tapped in the rebound from close range. We forced numerous saves from the Shrewsbury goalkeeper, including this one from David Washington from long range, pressing high up the field, forcing a mistake in the back line, as well as this one from Jack Harrison after Maxim de Kuyper's cross was headed up into the air. We did double the lead before half-time, though. It was another corner, this time James Tarkowski getting his head to it and firing past the Shrewsbury Town goalkeeper. No rebound needed this time. And it was much the same after the break. Josh Da Silva scored the goal of the game with this long-range strike, which dipped just in front of the goalkeeper, making it a difficult save when really it looked as though he could have done better. Just 2 minutes later, Lewis Ferguson was fouled inside the box, the referee awarding the penalty and Lewis Ferguson tucking it away in the bottom corner neatly. And Shrewsbury's day just went from bad to worse. Just before the hour mark, Perry was sent off for this late challenge on Lewis Ferguson. Fortunately for Shrewsbury, their goalkeeper was able to stop the game from getting too out of hand. If it wasn't for his excellent performance, it would have potentially been double digits. The XG doesn't quite reflect that, but it does reflect that we should have scored almost 8 goals in the game. So it's an absolutely dominant performance for the debut of the 4-3-3 system, but it was only Shrewsbury Town. We're going to have to test the new system against tougher opposition, and that's exactly what we'll do in our next game as we travel to Turf Moor to face Burnley. Our next Carabao Cup game has been scheduled and it's not until November, so that means we will play 4 games again today. We'll feature our home match against Manchester United, and then we'll round out the episode with highlights of a trip to the City Ground to face Nottingham Forest. So it is another outing for the 4-3-3 formation against Burnley, but Graham Potter's strongest 11 is going to take to the field this time. So that means Cunha in that false 9 position that we brought him into play, Reiss Nelson to the left of him, Hassan Diao to the right, a really strong and versatile midfield 3 of Amadou Onana, James Garner and Lewis Ferguson, and then a back 4 of Nathan Patterson, Arnel Ahmedhodzic, Jared Branthwaite and Maxim de Kuyper. And Burnley certainly did prove stiffer opposition, especially since they opened the scoring in the first half. It was Wilson Odobert, a transfer target of Graham Potter, who stole in at the back post and nodded a header back across goal. Burnley didn't have the lead for long though. Reiss Nelson lifted the ball across goal for Amadou Onana to head in at the back post after a scramble in the penalty area. And Onana almost scored a second again from a corner, this time just after the half-time break. But James Trafford dived away low to his right-hand side and made a really good save. James Trafford is a goalkeeper who Graham Potter's had on his transfer shortlist in terms of a young understudy to Jordan Pickford, but there was nothing he could do about this one. Reiss Nelson's initial effort was saved really well by the goalkeeper, But Diao lifted the ball back across goal and Nelson headed into an empty net to make it 2-1 Everton. It was a cagey match with chances few and far between. Burnley defending very, very well. But we did manage to come away with a victory away from home for the second time this season. Which brings us to our featured match of the episode as we host Manchester United at Goodison Park. Manchester United currently sit 2 places above us in the Premier League in 5th place, which is of course the Europa League spot. So this is going to be another important game if we are going to be pushing on to European football this season. Manchester United, one of our rivals for that Europa League spot. But depending on goal difference, a win could see us climb as high as 2nd place in the table, just behind Newcastle in 1st. And it's a brave call, but with the absence of Joachim Andersen and with the 4-3-3 formation working so well in recent games, Graham Potter has decided to go with 4 at the back once more. We're expecting a strong, aggressive attacking threat from Manchester United, so James Justin has come in to replace Nathan Patterson at right back. Abdoulaye Doucouré coming into the midfield in place of Lewis Ferguson to strengthen there. But it's the same front 3 that face Burnley. As for Manchester United, they have a couple of new faces. Dayot Upamecano starting at centre-back, whilst Tchouaméni, the big signing from the summer, £105 million, starts in midfield alongside Casemiro, Anthony Fernandes and Rashford all support Højlund in attack. So without further ado, let's head over to Goodison Park and see if we can strike a blow to another one of our rivals for European football. We are up in the commentary box for a big matchup early in the season here in year 2 of our realistic takeover rebuild with Everton. It's Manchester United, the visitors to Goodison Park today. Good challenge from James Justin early. And we have come out in the 4-3-3 formation. Ahmed Hodzic, where are you going? I'm a bit nervous to play the 4-3-3 against opposition like Manchester United. We tried it against Shrewsbury in the Carabao Cup, where it worked to very good effect as we came out 4-0 victors, advancing to the next round. We tried it then against Burnley in the Premier League. Much stiffer opposition, but still a side really we should be beating. Manchester United, a team that have the edge over us in terms of quality. This is well worked though down the left-hand side. Maxim de Kuyper crosses, ball falls to Cunha in the box, and it bounces in. And we have an early lead at Goodison Park. 5 minutes into the game, Matheus Cunha opens the scoring. And I think there must have been a deflection in there somewhere, because Andre Onana dived away to his right-hand side. It looked like there was a hand there from Cunha as well, and it does bounce off Martinez. Onana dives away to his right to make the stop, which only means that he dives over the ball that bounces off Martinez's leg and into the back of the net. And within 5 minutes, our big money summer signing, 31 million on Matheus Cunha from the now Championship Wolves, opens the scoring within 5 minutes here. So like against Arsenal, I'm not really sure what the game plan is now. I think we just continue as we had intended, which was to try and defend well and spring on the counter-attack against Manchester United. This wasn't the plan by any means. Good challenge, Amadou Onana, and we just need to get rid here. And the ball could fall here to Reece Nelson on the left-hand side. So I think we're going to be dropping into our defensive game plan probably earlier than I had anticipated. Rasmus Højlund, good block, Jared Branthwaite. And James Justin just needs to get rid, but can't. And it's a good save by Jordan Pickford. And what a frantic open in 10 minutes. As we score within 5, Manchester United almost get one back, but we are going to drop into our defensive game plan already. That means those forward players alongside Cunha in Nelson and Diao are going to drop back into a flat midfield 4. And we are going to try and be a bit more robust defensively, and we're going to try and keep the ball a little bit better when we do have possession. There is still a long way to go in this game, 80 minutes. We can't just sit back and try and defend for 80 minutes and just hit Manchester United on the counter-attack. We are going to have to try and use the ball well when we have it. And that's a good challenge by Marcus Rashford. James Justin we brought in to be a defensive presence. And Manchester United equalise. What a goal that is. Absolutely incisive counter-attack. Marcus Rashford stole the ball away from James Justin. And what a ball that is from Marcus Rashford. Perfectly weighted into the path of Rasmus Højlund, who lays it off to Bruno Fernandes. Absolutely nothing Jordan Pickford could do about that. And as I was saying, we brought James Justin in to be more of a defensive presence against the likes of Marcus Rashford. But he's absolutely been pickpocketed there by Rashford. And it's an equaliser for Manchester United within 5 minutes of the goal being scored to break the deadlock. Amadou Onana wins the header. I think we will stay in our defensive game plan for a little longer. But now that Manchester United have equalised, we will be stepping back up into our standard game plan at some point, I would imagine. Good challenge. Reece Nelson into the path of Doucouré. And Reece Nelson now away on this right-hand side. It's a back-and-forth game early. Upamecano doesn't have the pace to get back. And Reece Nelson, I was about to say, makes it 2-1. But it's an absolutely unbelievable save from Onana. What a reaction stop from close range. And what a game this is in the opening 20 minutes. Cunha challenges for the header, can't win it. And Diao not alert enough to the ball as it drops in the box there. And we're going to press Onana here. Oh, he's done so well to lift that out to Mazraoui, the new right back for Manchester United. And Chouameni, another new signing, can come away with it. Straight into the path of Jarrad Branthwaite, though. And there's Cunha. They've set out onto the right-hand side for James Justin. Does well to take it down under pressure from Luke Shaw, who is now going to press Ahmedhodzic high up the pitch. Jordan Pickford out to Maxim de Kuiper. And there's Diao on the left-hand side. Diao and Nelson switching blanks in the defensive game plan. Simply because we're not going to want those players to cut inside quite as often. And rather, they're going to be staying wide. So Nelson more suited to the right-hand side in those situations. Diao with the ball at his feet. Takes on the new Manchester United right back. Turns him inside and out. And strikes into the side netting. Diao so good with the ball at his feet. He turned the right back first one way and then the other. And he was always half a step behind Mazraoui. Diao, I think, has been an excellent signing. He looks so dynamic, so dangerous every time he has the ball at his feet. And again, we'll press high here. Onana, this time just clearing the ball away to the right-hand side. And again, we can retain possession here with Branthwaite. Ahmedhodzic. Doucouré in midfield with a nice little half-turn away from the Manchester United press. And he tries to slip the ball through to Cunha, but it's cut out by Upamecano. And Onana's made a hash of that. And between the Manchester United defenders, managed to get the ball away, but Onana put his side in real trouble there. And it's quieting down a bit at Goodison Park as the game has slowed down a bit. It was a frantic opening 15 minutes or so. Oh, and that's a fantastic ball from Højlund, trying to repay the favour that Rashford paid him earlier on. Rashford laid a perfectly weighted pass just in front of Højlund as he got the assist for Bruno Fernandes's goal. And Højlund tried to do the same for Rashford there. Oh, and that's a poor pass from De Kuiper. Thankfully, it doesn't come back to bite us as we do manage to regain possession very quickly. Jordan Pickford, Jared Branthwaite, Maxim De Kuiper once more. Not too much going on up ahead of him, though. Manchester United doing a good job of taking away all the options ahead of Maxim De Kuiper. And that's a poor pass from James Justin this time. James Justin's been very poor in this first half. And I wouldn't be surprised if Graham Potter decided to take Justin off at half-time. Reece Nelson again with the ball at his feet. And Manchester United have committed players forward. And Reece Nelson just couldn't quite cut it inside to release Matheus Cunha there. Matheus Cunha. That does look to be a way that we can exploit Manchester United, though. They are committing bodies forward, and they have done so again here. And there is going to be space in behind for us to run into. And again, that's going to be the case for Reece Nelson here. Luke Shaw not managing to come away with the ball. Reece Nelson tries to pull it back across goal and is blocked, I think, by Upamecano. And one thing about this system is that we do have fewer players in the box for crosses. We're going to have more players lining up on the edge of the box waiting for pullbacks across goal. So in those kinds of situations, we just barely really have a target to aim for in the penalty area. Good intervention almost by Onana. Does come through to Fernandes. James Justin is beaten by Marcus Rashford. Lofted to the back post where Rasmus Højlund lies in wait. And it's a good block by Branthwaite. Get rid, somebody get rid. No! No! The referee's given a penalty. Just a talking to for Ahmedhodzic, but the referee's seen something inside the box that he thinks is a penalty. And if that's it, I'm absolutely outraged. Rasmus Højlund strikes through the ball, takes a tumble as he does so. And Ahmedhodzic was just stood there. He was just stood there. And Fernandes sends Pickford the wrong way and makes it 2-1 Manchester United. Honestly, this big club bias, it came back to haunt us several times last season. In the Merseyside derby springs to mind, but in several other games as well. And it's coming back to bite us again here. I want to look at that again, because I did not see a foul in there from Ahmedhodzic. I do not understand what the referee has seen here in terms of giving a penalty. Højlund takes an initial shot, which is blocked by Jared Branthwaite. It bounces off Højlund. He has a second bite of the cherry, but Maxim De Kuiper gets his foot there just before. This is what the referee has given a penalty for. Ahmedhodzic tries to come away with the ball. He tries to strike through it just at the same time that Højlund tries to strike through it. There's a collision of legs, and the penalty's been given for that against Ahmedhodzic. Jared Branthwaite comes in behind Højlund. Potentially that's where the foul was, but it was Ahmedhodzic that the referee was talking to. And how you can give a penalty for that, I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. So it's going to be 2-1 Manchester United shortly before half-time here. About 40 minutes into the game. And that's completely changed the tone of the game. It's completely changed the atmosphere here at Goodison Park. It had quietened down already, but Goodison Park is all but silent now. Reece Nelson could have a chance to change that before half-time, though. Into the Manchester United box, and it's 2-2. Reece Nelson levels the scoring seconds after Manchester United take the lead. James Justin has been the source of so much bad in this first half, but he lobs the ball forward to Reece Nelson on that occasion. And the Manchester United defenders weren't quick enough coming across. Martinez not quick enough to cover his centre-back partner, Upamecano. Upamecano himself not quick enough to catch up with Reiss Nelson. And it's going to be 2-2. 3 minutes to go until half-time. Already we have 4 goals in this game. And it's been an absolutely frantic first half here at Goodison Park. And again, seconds after I was just saying the tone and the atmosphere has changed. It's changed once more. There's a bit of life here in Goodison Park again. Oh, and Onana just couldn't quite release Diao in time there. There was going to be space in behind if he could release the ball. But couldn't quite get the pass away before a Manchester United player was across to make the block. There's De Kuiper again. Again, the options up ahead of him, cut off by Manchester United. Amadou Onana skips away and tries to release James Justin. He's just going to have to try and get his head on it, which he fails to do. Marcus Rashford once more. Dodzic is caught out of position high up the field, so Reiss Nelson takes over those defensive duties. And Harry's Manchester United. It's a good block. Get rid of the ball! Put your foot through the ball, James Justin! I cannot believe what has just happened. And yet again we see a player going over to celebrate with the manager. That's infuriating me beyond belief this season. At this point, I had powered up a cross, essentially. I'd powered up the X button. And instead of putting his foot through the ball, which is what he's supposed to do, which is what on 99 out of 100 occasions would happen there, James Justin just takes a touch. And Fernandes buries it. And yet again, the game has changed. And we go into the halftime break 3-2 down. What an unbelievable first half. There is no way James Justin comes out for the second half. Absolutely no way. How you can take a touch in that situation is beyond me. But beyond that, there's been countless opportunities, countless instances rather, in the first half where James Justin has let the side down. So it's actually 2 changes for Graham Potter at half-time. James Justin coming off for Nathan Patterson. But Abdoulaye Doucouré being replaced by Lewis Ferguson as well. So Graham Potter obviously not happy with what he saw in that first half. 3 goals conceded. But we haven't controlled the game enough in midfield either. I mean, it's tough to do that against Manchester United. As Amadou Onana finds Matheus Cunha. And the linesman, I believe, is given offside. He was just offside, Cunha. It can't have been by much, though. It's by his forehead and his index finger. Whatever happened to the concept of level? If you're offside by your forehead, you're not offside, in my book. But difficult to control the midfield against Manchester United. But Abdoulaye Doucouré has made pretty much no contribution to doing that in the first half. So he also has been given the hook at half-time. So first priority, do not concede again in this game. Second priority, score at least 1 goal. Those are our 2 objectives here in the second half. Matheus Cunha gives the ball away. Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, who's been dangerous in the game so far. Nathan Patterson clears away, which is something that James Justin couldn't do. I don't care that the ball went out into touch immediately. It's better safe than sorry. That always has to be the policy. Good challenge. James Garner. Matheus Cunha spots the run of Diao and plays a nice pass into his path. Mazraoui there to shepherd Diao out towards the corner flag. There's Ferguson. Onana strikes from range and cracks it against the post. What an effort from Amadou Onana. Andre Onana, his namesake, scrambling across his goal, would have got nowhere close to it. effort had been on target. And instead the ball thunders against the woodwork. An absolutely vicious effort by Onana. And James Garner can't quite squeeze it through to Diao. It was a decent effort. But it was a good interception by the Manchester United defender. And we're going to have to be careful here. What a save. What a save, Jordan Pickford. Bruno Fernandes free in the box. Rasmus Højlund, who has been an absolute playmaker up front so far today, found him. And it was an unbelievable stop from close range by Jordan Pickford. Point blank range. But an excellent reaction save, diving away to his right-hand side. Now Manchester United are looking to double their advantage again. Early here in the second half. I believe that's Chouameni. James Garner does well to stop the cross. And we're going to have to step up here, and we've done that, and we've left Rasmus Højlund. Stepped up with Jared Branthwaite. The second that we did that, it was slipped in behind for Rasmus Højlund, and what a surprise. How does he celebrate? He goes over and hugs his manager. This is something that's crept in with a recent update, I guess. CPU teams just no imagination whatsoever with their celebrations. Oh, but that's so frustrating. I switched on to Jared Branthwaite and I stepped forward, and the instant that I did that, I saw the pass being played and I knew there was going to be space in behind. And there's not too much really I could have done about that one, I don't think. I was slow to get onto the player that I wanted to be on with switching players with the LB button. I need to get better with the right stick and select the player that I want to switch to rather than just spamming LB until I get on them. Diao pulls it back for Cunha. And again, I've said it, what is this, the third time now, the fourth time, but again the game has really changed in terms of its tone, and it does feel like it's going to be beyond us to get a result now. And now it seems like nothing's coming off. At 3-2, I said priority one was don't concede another goal. At 4-2, it's the reason why, because I feel like the game is beyond reach now with less than half an hour to go. And Manchester United still looking dangerous in attack. I'm not sure how we get anything out of this game. Good save, Jordan Pickford. Hooked away by Amadjojic. Amadou Onana in there challenging for the ball but can't win it back. And I think we're going to have to make a couple more changes next time the ball goes out of play. We have our strongest 11 out there though, so changes in terms of making ourselves a bit more dangerous going forward, I think those changes are limited. How has that gone in? How have Manchester United scored there? Pickford's made an unbelievable save earlier on from point blank range, but he's let himself down there at his near post. Again, we back off. Again, look at the depth of Amadjojic and Branthwaite. Just stepping off the strikers, just giving them far too much space. And I'm not sure if that's something I can change with custom tactics, but I feel like I've been adjusting those custom tactics fairly frequently, and I've been moving the depth further and further up to try and address that, and it just never seems to make a difference. I'm not sure how we get those centre-backs more engaged in stepping up and challenging the strikers. It's going to be a Manchester United free kick. We'll make a change or two before they take it. So 2 more changes for Graham Potter. It's going to be Matheus Cunha, who's had a tough game today. Hasn't really been able to make the impact that we've grown used to him making already in games. He's going to be replaced by David Washington. And then it's going to be Diao off. And he's going to be replaced by Jack Harrison. But a 3-goal lead now for Manchester United. The game surely is gone. I mean, we'll try and get back in it. But if we don't score a goal, like pretty much now, it's going to be tough to do so. Jack Harrison at the back post. Does win a corner for Everton. But it's going to be Anthony replaced by Mason Mount before we have a chance to take it. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is on the bench for Manchester United today. Whether we'll see an appearance from him, I'm not sure. Can't quite win their header in the box. Nathan Patterson again can't win their header either. Ahmedhodzic picks it up. And that's such a poor pass. That's so bad from Jack Harrison. And Jack Harrison, since his ACL tear last season, has been extremely bad. He's been really awful since that injury. He was decent enough in the first few months of the series, but he tore his ACL and he was out for the remainder of the season, and he went down 1 overall. By the end of the season, he was down from a 76 to a 75, and he's down another overall this season, so he's down to a 74 now. So he continues to get worse, just unable to bounce back to his former form. And I'm worried the same is going to happen with Joachim Andersen. He's also torn his ACL. And I'm worried that our 20 million investment in a new centre-back may have gone to waste. And I'm worried that we're going to see him with the same kind of treatment, going down in overall and not really being able to perform as he once could. James Garner slips it through almost for Reiss Nelson. James Garner's played well today. He's been one of the few bright spots in that midfield. There's been several occasions where it just hasn't quite come off for him, that being one of them. But he's been the closest really to unlocking the Manchester United defence. Amadou Onana tries to slip it, not through, but over the Manchester United backline to David Washington, who'd drifted off the shoulder of his defender. Oh, and James Garner again. Doesn't quite come off, but he stepped up and almost stole the ball away from Manchester United. And it's going to be Højlund off, but it's going to be Diallo to come on. I thought that meant we were going to see an appearance from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Is it Diallo? It was Jonathan David, actually, coming on as a substitute for Manchester United. Amadou Onana switches the play to Nathan Patterson. And again, Reiss Nelson with a good run in behind. Lewis Ferguson does the same, but Reiss Nelson can't find him. Reiss Nelson's been fairly dangerous today as well. He's looked good with the ball at his feet. He's stretched the Manchester United backline. Like James Garner, hasn't really come off for Reiss Nelson today. But he lost this one into the box looking for David Washington, and the ball does fall to Reiss Nelson's feet, and he strikes towards goal and he gets one back. It's not been a game in which these goalkeepers have covered themselves in glory. Jordan Pickford has been at fault for 1 or 2 goals today, and Onana certainly is at fault for that one. Should have been a comfortable save for the goalkeeper. I'm not sure if maybe he was stepping away to his right before he then had to dive back away to his left-hand side. But that shot was extremely close to Onana and should have been a very comfortable parry away. And potentially, you might even expect him to hold on to that. It was so close to his body. But instead, the ball squeezes past him. And it's now 5-3. An 8-goal thriller at Goodison Park. It's going to be an 8-goal thriller that we're going to come out on the losing end of. These high-scoring games recently, we've got the better of opposing teams. Leeds and Arsenal at the end of Season 1 coming to mind. But today is going to be Manchester United's turn to come away with a result and a number of goals to their name. Good challenge, Nathan Patterson. Reece Nelson there to challenge as well, but we do allow Manchester United inside. Jared Branthwaite somehow can't win the ball back, and it's a good block by Dodzic. And it's going to be out for Manchester United's corner. Luke Shaw to come off to be replaced by Kieran Trippier, so that does mean no appearance from Calvert-Lewin today. No appearance earlier in the season from Beto either, as we faced Aston Villa. James Garner again doing some good defensive work, close to his own penalty area. Dodzic doing the same. James Garner under pressure, but does really well to come away with the ball and to set Lewis Ferguson free. We do have 4 minutes of injury time to play, but we have nobody up in support of Lewis Ferguson, and he just ends up giving the ball away. Just had to hold on to it for too long. If we could have broken there and grabbed the goal back, we would have at least had half a chance of grabbing an equaliser in the last 2 minutes or so. But we couldn't get support forward quickly enough for Lewis Ferguson. Reece Nelson is in acres of space though, and Jack Harrison has found him superbly. And Reece Nelson cuts inside, strikes at goal, flashes wide. Good effort from Reece Nelson. He's looked by far our most dangerous player going forward today. Oh, and that's actually a lot closer than I thought it was at first glance. Again, I think Onana potentially was beaten there, but that's going to be the last chance of the game. Manchester United are going to be able to just see out these last few seconds. And there is the referee's final whistle. So 8 goals shared at Goodison Park. Unfortunately, not shared evenly. 5 go in favour of Manchester United, 3 of which were scored by Bruno Fernandes. But somehow I don't think Bruno Fernandes was Manchester United's best player today. I think Rasmus Højlund was the source of all the positive things Manchester United did going forward, and it was Højlund who I believe got a couple of assists for Bruno Fernandes. So a tough defeat against very good opposition, and particularly worrying that we conceded 5 goals. We did take a risk playing 4 at the back against Manchester United, and it's a risk that doesn't seem to have paid off. And that defeat sees Manchester United climb into the place that we were eyeing before the game, 2nd place behind Newcastle United, whilst we've dropped all the way down to 10th position. A win in our final game of the episode against Nottingham Forest would see us back squarely in amongst those European teams though. Graham Potter does revert back to the 3 at the back formation for this one, and Ben Godfrey and James Tarkowski come into the back line. Josh Da Silva makes his first Premier League start for Everton alongside Lewis Ferguson in midfield, and Assane Diao and Reece Nelson continue to be the pairing to support Matheus Cunha up front. And this game was the polar opposite of the last, with only 2 highlights to show, the first of which is Assane Diao opening the scoring on about the half-an-hour mark, cutting in from the right-hand side onto his left foot, stumbling past a couple of Nottingham Forest defenders, and then firing a shot low away to the goalkeeper's right. It was a game in which chances were few and far between, but it was Vlachodimos, the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, who made a save, parrying the ball away to his left-hand side from a Matheus Cunha shot. That kept the game at 1-0, and that is how it ended. So back in the win column again, and outside of the frustrating performance and result against Manchester United, it's been another really positive episode. And as the dust settles on results around the league, we don't quite find ourselves back up in one of those European places, but we're certainly not far off. We're on 16 points along with 3 other teams in West Ham, Spurs and Chelsea, just a point behind Manchester United in 3rd, 2 points behind Arsenal in 2nd, and just a win behind Newcastle in top spot. Newly promoted Norwich and West Brom have both started the season fairly well, and they sit in mid-table in 11th and 12th position. Burnley, however, find themselves down near the relegation zone, but they are outside of the drop zone at the moment on goal difference alone. Leicester City, Brentford and Bournemouth currently occupying those 3 positions. So as we move into November, it will likely be another episode that features 4 games. We have trips to West Ham and Brighton to get to, as well as 2 games at Goodison Park as we host Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup and Chelsea in the Premier League. So we'll continue to try and put valuable points on the board in the next episode. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.